Ciao, my name is Chanaancona. The work that is participating in this exhibit is called The Distaff Side, and it's a work that is done in mixed media, silkscreen on silk, and an assemblage of different materials. You'll find there are different handiworks like embroidery and crochet and knitting. This work was dedicated to my mother-in-law, who I saw as a woman of valor. Woman of valor is taken from Proverbs and are the last verses of Proverbs. Within this is described a woman who both does handiwork and both is helpful through her community. The phrases that I chose from to respond to were Yadeha shilcha bekisho, v'kapeha tampupelech, kapa parsa le'ani, v'yadeha shilcha le'avion. She lays her hand to the distaff, and her hands hold the spindle. She reaches out to the poor and reaches forth her hands to the needy. My mother-in-law not only was someone who did handiwork, but she also was someone who ran a program called Meals on Wheels that helped the people who could not get out, those who were housebound and those who were elderly. And so I see her as having both aspects of woman of valor. The actual objects that you see in the top part of the piece are her handiwork. And as well as I've put in there raw wool, pearls to symbolize the fact that in Woman of Valor it's said that the Woman of Valor's value is above pearls. And you will find in there as well my mother-in-law's glasses, her keys, different stones that we collected as a family in different trips. It's a personal work in many ways. The model for the hands were her hands from photographs and my hands. I'm also a woman who deals with handiwork, with textiles, with dyes, and so I relate very much to these phrases that are given in Proverbs. I'm standing next to a work that's called Leah's Eyes, which is also appropriate for the exhibit, which is Women in Judaism. That's the subject that's for European Jewish Culture Day this year. And Leah in the Bible, it was not the preferred one. Jacob wanted Rachel. And her eyes are mentioned, the translators translate the Hebrew rakot as her having weak eyes. I prefer to use a different meaning of rakot. Rakot can also mean soft or tender. And this work technically was done on a assemblage of different fabrics. They're dyed, silkscreen, and assembled together. And on top of it, I have silkscreen in a sepia color, an old photograph that I enlarged. The photograph is of my mother at age 26. It was actually taken in southern Italy. My parents were Holocaust survivors, and they came to Italy after they were liberated from a concentration camp. And I was born here, and at age 2, they immigrated to the United States. What you see here is I'm standing in my studio. For the work that I do, I use this large table. Here's where I stretch the fabric, use the dyes and kind of a watercolor effect of layers, as well as stretching and using silk screens as well. If the work becomes an even larger work, I will use a large stretcher, as you see over here, and stretch the fabric on that and paint in that way. It's a pleasure being part of the exhibit, and thank you.